I seen Michael. Now, before I begin this review, I am a diehard Michael Jackson fan. I've been a Michael Jackson fan since I was 3 years old. I am a offspring of his artistry. Now, I am going to be very honest with this review. And I wasn't crazy about this film. Um, Let me get the good out the way. Jafar Jackson embodied it. He did amazing. Hands down, he embodied his uncle from the mannerisms to the voice to even the dancing. And that's something that I was very keen on because Michael is one of the reasons why I dance today and do music. And it wasn't forced, it was very natural. You could tell that he put a lot of time and training into learning Michael in and out, especially when it came down to the dancing. Coleman Domingo deserves an Oscar, and Young, I think his name Giuliano, he did phenomenal. So let me continue. I'm gonna tell you why I didn't really enjoy this film a lot, and it was two things. It was the pacing and the editing. It didn't give anything time to breathe, and the way they edit things took me out of certain moments. They didn't like it felt like they had buckets and they written the year down on each bucket that they used in the movie. And they just put a whole bunch of random things of events that happened in Michael's lives in those buckets. So it just seemed like they put a whole bunch of stuff in those buckets and they went down, pulled it out, and was like, okay, we're gonna use this. It was no build up, nothing breathed. It was just going. Now, when it comes down to editing, the editing kind of messed up the performances for me. Um, and I kind of felt that before the film came out because they showed the clip of Billie Jean. And prior to seeing the clip to Billie Jean, I said, man, I hope that they don't make this performance overly cinematic. I said that they should recreate the entire performance because that was what really catapulted Michael. And they didn't they just butchered it in my opinion. Now don't get me wrong, Jafar did amazing dancing wise. Can't take that away from him. He only got one thing wrong with the dancing, but I can't really blame him because when you're taught how to moonwalk, they always tell you to slide your left foot back first. Michael always slid his right foot back first. Even I know how to moonwalk. And when I was taught to slide my left foot back first. But over the years, I switched to the right because I was like, oh, I want to kind of like get it down like Michael did, right? But that was the only thing. But everything else he had down to a T. So that's just some nitpicking stuff. But that's just me. But I don't hold it against him because he did everything else like phenomenal, very phenomenal. But let's get to Thriller. Thriller is a short film, right? Why in this movie Thriller felt like a music video? They recreated the dance, but they didn't show the whole entire dance break. Like, bro, I got excited because the first spoiler, when they came into Thriller, they showed them doing the dance. Then they stopped it. Michael went to the people to to talk to the director and say, hey, make sure you get the feet. Let's show the whole body, right? They said, okay. So they got right back into the routine. Jafar did the eyes and everything. So I'm in the movie theater. I went like this. I'm like, oh yeah, but we finna get this bit. Man, I'm like, all right, they getting it. And then it cut to another part of the dance. I was like, bro, really? Then the editing of Billie Jean, I just felt like it was butchered because the part where he was getting into the moonwalk and he got in a position, they showed that shot twice, but in different angles. And it's like, bro, y'all completely threw it off. And the reason why I know this, because I edit videos too, so I know a little bit about cinematography and editing, and I just didn't like how they put that together. Um, Something that really bothered me in this film was the rhinoplasty thing when he went to go get surgery on his nose. They made it seem like, oh, he is so insecure about his nose and how his nose looked. He went to go get nose surgery. But they didn't talk about how he broke his nose in 1979, which led to his first rhinoplasty. That pissed me off because all that did in the film is just kept on with the same narrative that's been shoved down our throat for years. Y'all should have put that in there. Because I think with the rhinoplasty in 1979 and how his nose didn't look right afterwards to him, that's caused him to, you know, keep going back and getting his nose done. I do believe that a little bit of it does stem from his childhood, but y'all should have addressed that in the film about how his nose actually broke from dance rehearsal. That pissed me off. And I really didn't like that. What else? I don't know why they did this during the victory tour where Michael announced like, hey, this is the final tour with the brothers. That's it. And you know he's walking away from Joe Jackson. If you watch the footage from Victory Tour when he did that in real life, they was playing the song Shake Your Body Down to the Ground. Why were they playing Working Day and Night? And the outfits was totally different in the sense of like when he was working when they was doing Working Day and Night, he was like in an overall costume. But y'all just decided to do Working Day and Night, and he's in the, you know, Billie Jean outfit for Victory Tour or whatever. And I'm just saying to myself, I'm like, bro, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why did y'all do that? Right? I feel like this film didn't really go deep in the sense of who he really was, what really made him tick. It was just like, okay, I want to do my own thing. I just want to get away from my dad. And that was pretty much it. I felt like Beat It was forced. I feel like they just wanted to put that in there. Don't get me wrong, they killed the routine, they killed the performance of Beat It, but it just didn't feel organic to me. I don't feel like that's how Beat It really came about. We'll never know because Michael's not here. But I do want to say this. I'm not fond of part one. And I noticed within part one that they was setting a lot of seeds, planting a lot of seeds for part two. I noticed that. Like when he was taking the medication after the Pepsi accident. And also too, when it came down to the Pepsi accident, during the time they was showing the montage of things that was happening in Billie Jean, they showed him winning the Grammy for like 2 seconds. Actually, he won those Grammys after the Pepsi accident. I noticed that, and that didn't sit well with me either, because I'm like, bro, y'all, it seems like y'all just throwing stuff against the wall, just trying to fit everything in this 2 hour and 7 minute movie. And I also think the film hurt from not being longer. Because if the film was 30 minutes, even 30 minutes more, or an hour more, I feel like they could have flushed out way more things, let things breathe. And I think it would have been more of a enjoyable experience as a film. The music, you're going to have a blast. But as a film, it's just, it falls. So what I'm getting back to, they planted seeds in part one for part two. I feel as if part two is gonna be better than part one. It's gonna be better because they can't just music recreation. Like, no, you gotta really get behind the things that this man was struggling with in part two. I understand that in part one, a lot of things were sabotaged by legal stuff. But in part two, I think they can maneuver around some things. So I believe part two is going to be better than part one. And I feel like if they can really pull things off in part two, it will make part one better because you'll see it as more of a prequel, the origin, and then what he has became after, you know, the meteoric rise and then the fall, right? But I think I just want them to really show us things that we really don't know about Michael. They show the human side of Michael in this one, but I think they need to really like show us more, you know, because he still kind of came off as a superhero a little bit in this film. I'm glad that I held off on doing this film review because yesterday, if I did it, oh, it would have just been negative all over. But overall, in terms of the performances and the acting, I thought it was phenomenal. But the way that the film was put together, it falls flat for me. So I'm going to go see it again Sunday with my grandma. She wants to go see it, so I'm going to go take her. Maybe my opinion will change soon, but as of right now, as a diehard Michael Jackson fan, I feel like Michael deserved better. And I know that they was dealing with a lot of legal issues with this film, but man, to me, this one it. And this don't take away from the hard work that the cast put in. They did phenomenal. But I just wish the film was put together better. And I felt like also too that this film needed to be longer. So that's just my review. I might do a redux after I see the movie again on Sunday. But yeah, I'm out.